Well, good morning. I wish I could be there in person with you today, but here again, we're doing this via video, and sorry about that. But one of these times, we're going to come down and visit in person. Thanks so much for having me, at least virtually. My name is Rick Smith. I'm the Warning Coordination Meteorologist at the National Weather Service office up in Norman, Oklahoma. And it's March, and it's certainly that time of year to start thinking about, or to really be thinking about, severe weather safety here in Oklahoma. So this month, I kind of want to just go back to basics a little bit and just review some of the basics of severe weather safety, being prepared, and responding when severe weather threatens. So there's 3 steps to being ready for severe weather in Oklahoma, whether you're a city agency or somebody that's responsible for public safety, or whether you're someone that's just who lives in central Oklahoma, being ready, being informed, and being safe. Tornadoes can happen at any time in Oklahoma. Every month has had tornadoes recorded. The majority of tornadoes certainly happen during the months of March, April, May, and June. Over 80% of our annual tornado count happens during those months. Over 40% of tornadoes in an average year happen during the month of May. The majority of tornadoes happen in the late afternoon and early evening hours, between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. Of course, we can get a tornado at any hour of the day and night, anytime the ingredients are there. But by far, the vast majority of tornadoes happen during the afternoon and evening. We rate tornadoes according to how much damage they produce. So after the tornado is gone, we try to look at the damage, and we estimate how strong the winds might have been to have produced that damage, and then we assign an EF rating. The Enhanced Fujita scale rates tornadoes on a scale from 0 to 5. 0 is the weakest, 5 is the worst. Even here in Oklahoma, the majority of tornadoes that we see, nearly 3/4 of our tornadoes, are the relatively weaker variety, the EF0s and EF1s. Thankfully, those don't do much damage. They don't cause, usually don't cause fatalities or serious injuries. Unfortunately, they're not there very long, and that means sometimes they're hard to detect on radar. The worst tornadoes, the EF4s and EF5s, those are the rarest tornadoes. Less than 2% ever get that strong. And when we get up to the EF5 category, less than 1/2% ever get to be that intense. So it seems like we've seen a lot here in the immediate area over the past several years, but actually they're very, very rare. Here's a map showing all the tornadoes that we know about in central Oklahoma from 1880 to 2015. We can see Grady County, McClain County, Cleveland County, lots and lots of tornado tracks. There's more tornadoes than this. These are just the ones we know about. And certainly there's many that aren't reported, especially back in the decades and decades ago. So tornadoes happen anywhere. There's no spot in central Oklahoma that's more prone or more susceptible to tornadoes, and there's no place in central Oklahoma that's less likely to see a tornado. Just about everywhere in central Oklahoma is just as likely to see a tornado in any given year. So let's talk about being informed. That's really what the National Weather Service, working with emergency management and our partners in the media, are all about, and that's really the key to staying safe in severe weather here in Oklahoma. We encourage everyone, whether you're a city agency, a county agency, a school, a business, or a home, to have at least 3 ways to get a warning. It's important to have redundant pathways that the information can come to you. Pathways that will work even if the power is out, pathways that will get you the warning even if you're asleep, things like that. So we're going to talk about a couple of these individually. Again, back to basics, just kind of a review of some of the most important things to remember as we get ready for severe weather season. We still highly recommend that every school, home, and business have a NOAA weather radio. Weather radios are broadcast continuously from the National Weather Service office here in Norman. There are transmitters in Oklahoma City and Chickasha, which should serve McClain County very well. And those broadcast weather 24 hours a day. When we have a warning or a watch to put out, we'll precede that warning or watch with a special warning alarm tone. And if you have a specially designed radio, it will activate that radio. For less than $30, you can get a great weather radio that has that audible warning alarm that's programmable, so it will only sound alarms for the county you choose, and that has a battery backup, so that will help you in the event of a power outage. By far, the majority of people get their information from local television. The Oklahoma City TV stations do a fantastic job of covering severe weather. They have a lot of different resources at their disposal, from helicopters to storm trackers on the ground to radars to lots of technology and lots of people that are working to help you. Local television is a great source of information. At our office, we monitor every station during every severe weather event. People always want to know, well, what station should I watch? And really, it's a matter of personal preference. You're going to get great information no matter which station you watch. It just depends on which personalities you like better. And, maybe there's different ways that people pick their favorite TV stations, but you're going to get the same basic great information about warnings and severe weather no matter which station you choose. We're fortunate here in central Oklahoma that most of all the Oklahoma City TV stations have agreements with local AM and FM radio stations so that they will simulcast their coverage during some of the bigger severe weather events. So if you lose power, if you're in your car, or if you're in your shelter and can't watch television, you can listen to your favorite TV meteorologist on these radio stations. So Channel 4 has agreements with those stations that you see there. Channel 5, you can hear them simulcast on KGOU and Hank FM. Channel 9 has agreements with the radio stations you see listed there, and Fox 25 with those stations. A very popular way to get weather information now is weather apps, and I highly recommend everyone have apps on your smartphone that will push a warning to you. Know that you probably got an app on your phone when you bought it. If you have a smartphone, there's probably a weather app on there, but that app is probably not the one that you need to push a warning to you. You're going to have to go find one. You can get free apps. The Tornado app from the Red Cross is a great one. The FEMA app is a good one. There are apps from all the TV stations that you can get, and there are apps that you can purchase. And all these apps are good because they can use the location services in your phone to push information to you, even though you may not be paying attention or may not even be aware of what county you're in at the time. The National Weather Service works with FEMA and other agencies for a service called the Wireless Emergency Alert System. If you've ever gotten an Amber Alert on your phone very early in the morning, that came through the wireless emergency alerts on your phone. Most cell phone carriers and most newer phones have this capability. This uses the cell phone antennas and the warning that the Weather Service issues to broadcast the warning on every cell phone antenna that is within coverage that is covered by that National Weather Service warning. So this pushes information to people who have not taken any special action to receive warnings. This is great for travelers, great for people that are unfamiliar with the area, and this has been a lifesaver in many cases where people have gotten warnings on their phones and took action. Social media is a great way to share weather information, especially before the storm. It's not a good way to get warning information, so please don't ever depend on Facebook or Twitter or any other social media to be your primary source of warnings or to be your only source of warnings. That's a great system to share information before the storms, but social media is not a good way to get life-saving urgent weather information. Outdoor warning sirens in many communities play an important role. And when we're doing training, we're doing a lot of public speaking this time of year. We always tell people to remember that outdoor warning sirens are called that because they are designed for people that are outdoors. They're not intended for you to hear inside your house. So sirens are not supposed to wake you up in the middle of the night. Sirens are not supposed to be heard inside your business, inside a school or a church, or inside your home. They are only intended for people that are outside, so don't rely too much on those outdoor warning sirens. The National Weather Service works hard to keep you informed this time of year, and we work with emergency management partners and the media to put out information as far in advance as we can. We use outlooks, watches, and warnings to provide you information about the potential for severe weather. Outlooks mean that severe weather might happen either many hours from now or many days from now. The National Weather Service issues outlooks 8 days into the future. There's more uncertainty the further out in time you go. So if we're talking about the possibility of severe weather 5, 6, 7, 8 days from now, there's going to be a lot of question marks with that. When an outlook is issued, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. It means it could happen. Outlooks are available from a variety of sources, from the National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center, who provides the outlooks on the national level. Our local office takes the Storm Prediction Center outlooks and fine-tunes them down to the local scale. You can get outlooks on all the TV stations, the Weather Channel. There's lots of different places to get these severe weather outlooks. These are ideally intended to be planning tools for you. So they're not a forecast. They're not a guarantee something's going to happen. It's just a tool to help you get ready in case it does. Now, when you're watching television in the Oklahoma City area, you're going to get different interpretations of the outlook. Here's the National Weather Service scale. We use a 5-level scale that has words and colors and even numbers associated with it. So it goes from a level 1 marginal in the green all the way up to a level 5 enhanced in the purple. So these categories are based primarily on the number of storms we're expecting. So don't think that just because it's a slight risk that means the storms will only be slightly severe. You can get really bad things to happen still in that slight risk area. That's mainly talking about the number of storms we're expecting. When you're watching television and flipping through the channels, you're going to see different interpretations of the outlook. Channel 4, for example, they will use pretty much the Weather Service outlook colors and words. They've substituted heavy thunderstorms for the marginal category. They will draw their own outlook areas, though. So the areas that they have highlighted as a slight or enhanced or a moderate may be different than what you see on the National Weather Service page. KOCO, Channel 5, is one of the 2 stations in the area that broadcast or share the official National Weather Service outlook. They use the same color system, the same words, the same numbers, and they show the same threat areas that we show at the National Weather Service. Channel 9 is the most different station. They use a 3-level system to notify you about the risk of severe weather. They have a low, moderate, and high. So their categories are different than the Weather Service, and their areas that they draw on the map will also be different. And finally, Fox 25 basically uses the Weather Service scale. They've substituted marginal for very low on their scale, but the colors, words, numbers are otherwise the same, and they use the same areas. So if you're watching Fox 25 or Channel 5, you're going to see the official area that the National Weather Service has done on our outlook. The other stations, you'll see different interpretations of that. Usually pretty close, but not going to be exactly the same. Outlooks are available from a variety of other sources too. CNN, the Weather Channel have their own versions of outlooks. There are people on social media that are providing outlooks, people that are meteorologists or former meteorologists or people that are providing information. Sometimes their outlooks may be wildly different. And then there's a whole bunch of people that are just amateur forecasters, and it's entirely possible that a Facebook post or a tweet that you're looking at that's been shared thousands of times is not from any official source, but it's from someone who drew a map in PowerPoint and made it look like an official outlook and made a very dramatic forecast, and those get shared very, very often. So be very careful who you're following and who you're sharing. If you don't know the source, be careful about retweeting it and sharing it on Facebook. A lot of times those dramatic forecasts get shared more than the official ones. So find a reliable local official source of information in your area, whether it's a TV station, the Weather Service, or whoever, and stick with that. Watches are issued when the severe weather certainty is a little bit higher, usually on the day, always on the day of the event. A watch will either be a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch, and it just means that severe weather could happen in the next few hours. Severe thunderstorm watches are issued when we expect storms to produce hail 1 inch in diameter or larger, winds of 58 miles an hour or higher. A tornado, you can get a tornado in a severe thunderstorm watch. When one of these watches is issued, we're not expecting very many tornadoes. You may get 1 or 2. McClain County, central Oklahoma, averages about 11 severe thunderstorm watches in an average year. A tornado watch is issued when we expect conditions to be more favorable for tornadoes, maybe more significant tornadoes in the area. Watches are issued based on states or parts of states. So a sample watch might include parts of central and western Oklahoma, north Texas, southern Kansas. Watches are in effect for 4 to 6 hours. And a tornado watch means that conditions are there, the ingredients are there, that severe thunderstorms and tornadoes could form in the next 4 to 6 hours. Not every county in a watch is going to see severe weather, but chances are very, very high that at least one county in that watch will see some form of severe weather before that watch ends. On average, in central Oklahoma, 6 tornado watches a year. Sometimes it's going to be a lot more than that. Sometimes it'll be less than that. Finally, warnings. Warnings are the most urgent message. They mean that severe weather is either happening right now, based on storm spotter reports or something we're seeing on radar, or we think it's about to happen. Severe thunderstorm warnings are the most common. They're issued if we expect a storm to produce hail 1 inch in diameter or bigger, and or winds of 58 miles an hour or higher. Severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for 30 to 45 minutes. We average about 35 to 40 of those a year here in central Oklahoma. Please don't ignore severe thunderstorm warnings. They provide very important information. We only have one flavor of severe thunderstorm warning, so if you ignore a severe thunderstorm warning, it may be for a storm that's got baseball-sized hail and 90-mile-an-hour winds, so you certainly don't want to miss those warnings. In every warning that we issue, we will put in the warning the hail size and the wind speed that we're expecting, so that can help you make decisions about what to do if a severe thunderstorm warning is issued for your community. Tornado warnings are issued when a tornado is happening or it's developing. On average, we have about 5 tornado warnings a year here in central Oklahoma, including McClain County. Tornado warnings on average are issued 15 minutes before the tornado develops. Now, sometimes you're going to get the warning longer in advance than that. So maybe you get a warning 20, 30 minutes before the tornado is even there. Sometimes you're going to get no warning, and that's just a fact of how meteorology is and how radar technology is. It's just impossible to guarantee that we'll detect every single tornado that happens. The majority of the tornadoes we will detect, and certainly almost every single tornado that's of that EF2 and higher categories, are going to be detected and a warning issued before they happen. Tornado warnings are in effect for 30 to 45 minutes, and they affect as small an area as possible, parts of several counties in some cases. So the final step in being safe in severe weather in Oklahoma is acting and being ready. Being ready is the first step, being informed, and then the last step to be safe is to act when severe weather happens or a warning is issued. The number one danger in tornadoes is not really the tornado itself, but it's what the tornado is producing. It's the flying and falling debris associated with the tornadoes, and that's what we're urging people to take shelter from when we're giving tornado safety guidelines or tornado safety rules. The 3 main things to think about in tornado safety, no matter where you are to get in, get down, and cover up. That's kind of the closest we could get to the fire service's stop, drop, and roll, but you want to get as far inside a sturdy structure as you can, get down as low as you can, and cover up with whatever you have. Here's the best places to be for tornadoes. The best places to be are in an underground shelter, an engineered above ground safe room that's built to FEMA guidelines, or a basement. Those are the best places to be. Some of us don't have all those options though. The next best place to be, and the option for most people, is going to be to find shelter on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. The worst places to be, these are all tied for the worst place to be, are mobile homes, vehicles, and outdoors. None of those are safe in any tornado. None of those are safe in any severe windstorm. And you need to find other shelter. If you're in any of those locations, you have to find a better shelter, preferably in a sturdy building, as soon as you can if a tornado is approaching or a warning is issued. Safe rooms, above ground safe rooms. There's never been a serious injury or a fatality in a legitimate safe room. Now, in Arkansas a couple of years ago, a woman was killed in a safe room that had been homemade, and the door that was installed on the safe room was not built to FEMA guidelines. It was not a door that had been tested to tornado wind speed specifications, and that's how that unfortunate incident occurred. These pictures all show safe rooms that survived the EF5 tornado and more in Oklahoma City on May 20th of 2013. These are absolutely safe in any tornado if they're built to the specifications. FEMA has specific guidelines, and if you follow those guidelines, these are great places to be. Some people have underground shelters, whether it's the old Wizard of Oz or Twister style shelter out in the backyard, or whether it's in the garage floor. I know my house has one in the garage floor. These are great. Again, the door is the weak spot in these shelters, or the potential weak spot. You need to be sure that the doors can latch completely. These have been known to blow open sometimes, so make sure if you have one of these shelters or know people that do, that the door latch mechanism really keeps that door shut in the event of a tornado. If you don't have a below ground shelter or a safe room, then you're going to have to you're going to figure out in your particular location where's the best place to shelter. You're going to have to look at your home or your business and find out where you can go. Remember the basics of sheltering in a building. Get as far inside the building as you can. Put as many walls between you and the outside as you possibly can, and then get low and cover up. Some places to consider, some places to avoid, first of all, don't be on an outside wall or near an outside wall, a door, or a window. Now, in your building, in your home, some of these places might be good shelters, but it depends on your structure. There's no absolute safe place we can tell you. A lot of people think, well, I'm going to get in the bathtub if there's a tornado. There's nothing magically safe at all about a bathtub. If the bathtub is in a small room in the middle of the house, then that might be a good shelter. But if your bathtub is on an outside wall, has a skylight in the bathroom or a window, that's not a good place to be. So there's nothing magical about a bathtub that's going to protect you in a tornado. It makes more difference. It's more important where that bathtub is in the home. So this is going to involve people looking around their home and finding that spot in the middle of the house as far as you can get, in as small a room as you can get, and finding that shelter area in your particular location. Wherever you take shelter, please try to cover up with whatever you have. If you can get under something sturdy, a stairwell, a sturdy table, a desk, cover up with whatever you can find. Pillows, sleeping bags, mattresses, couch cushions, anything that can protect you from things flying through the air and things falling on top of you. If you have a helmet available and can get to it quickly, you don't want to be digging around the attic as the tornado warning is being issued for your area. If you have that helmet handy, you can use that helmet to protect your head in the event of a tornado. The number one question that we get in tornado safety is, what do I do if I'm in my car and there's a tornado? The only answer to that question, the only good answer is, do not be in your car if there are tornadoes. Vehicles are one of the most dangerous places to be in a tornado. A weak tornado can roll a vehicle over, any size vehicle. And the stronger tornadoes, like on May 20th, 2013, these are vehicles that were out in front of Warren Theater along I-35 just after the tornado. Miraculously, no one was killed in any vehicles on May 20th, 2013, but it was close, and there were probably some injuries associated with some of these vehicles. They're very bad places to be, and you really just want to avoid at all costs being in your car anytime there's severe thunderstorms or tornadoes in the area. The first defense about being in your car in a tornado is paying attention to the weather. Take advantage of radar, take advantage of information from the local TV stations, emergency managers, National Weather Service. And if you have travel plans and you see storms along your path on the radar, or we're talking about the potential for tornadoes between here and where you're going, you might consider delaying your trip. Stay off the road if you can during those times when we're expecting severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. I know that's not always possible, but you do not want to be in your car around those storms. If you encounter a storm, you get out on the road and you've run into a storm somehow, do your best to get off the road as quickly as you can and find sturdy shelter. Don't go driving into the storm if you can avoid it. Get off the road, find a truck stop, restaurant, convenience store, somewhere to wait out the storm and somewhere to let the storm pass. You should avoid at all costs driving into dark clouds, driving into storms ahead if you don't know what's going on in there. Even if you don't encounter a tornado, the torrential rains, the 70, 80, 90 mile an hour winds that we can get in severe thunderstorms here, and certainly the big hail create a lot of dangers for motorists in severe thunderstorms. So avoid that if you can. You can't really predict what's going to happen when you're in a vehicle out near severe weather. As we all know here, people like to park their cars under highway bridges and overpasses to get protection from the hail. That causes roadblocks and that causes traffic jams and puts a lot of people at risk. You may think that you let's say you're going to your aunt's house to take shelter in a tornado. You may think that it will take 5 minutes. It takes 5 minutes on a sunny day to get to your aunt's house. But the traffic that may be there that you're not accounting for, the flooded roads, accidents may stop your trip altogether or delay it. So don't think that you know exactly what's going to happen when you get out on the road, because unpredictable things will happen. If you're caught in a worst case scenario where a tornado is upon you, you're in a vehicle, there are no absolute options at that point. Some people have survived getting into a ditch. People have survived getting under a highway overpass. People have survived getting into culverts or drainage areas. People have even survived staying in their cars. But people have also died in all those situations. If you're faced with the decision to choose between these locations, I don't have a good answer for which one is the best. It depends on your scenario. The best thing to do is just avoid being caught in that situation. This is a very tough, literally a life and death decision that you do not want to have to make if you don't have to. So again, it's kind of a scary time of year for some of us here in central Oklahoma with severe thunderstorms and tornadoes for the next 3-4 months. It's going to be a way of life, and we do this every year, and we'll make it through it. And it's important to just know that you can be ready. You can stay safe in Oklahoma severe weather if you have that plan to be ready. Have a plan that you practice with your family. Stay informed about the weather, take advantage of all the great information sources here, and then know where you're going to go to be safe, to protect yourself if a tornado or a severe thunderstorm approaches you. The National Weather Service works really hard to pump information out this time of year. Our website, weather.gov, is a great source of information. If you haven't looked at that or bookmarked that, please check it out. On severe weather days, we will always post the latest severe weather outlook graphics right on our front page. We'll also produce graphics that show you what time we expect the storms to be in the area. So take advantage of that. Follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page, and YouTube is a great source of other information too. So again, thank you for having me on the computer. Sorry again I couldn't be there, but hopefully this is helpful information. There's my email address, and please don't hesitate to email me, ask me questions if you have anything that we haven't covered here today or you'd like more information on. Thanks for all the work you do to help McClain County residents be safe. And we hope we don't have to deal with a lot of severe weather this spring, but I think we'll be ready for it in case it happens. So thanks very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.